Hello, watch lovers. You know what time it is. Welcome back to the show. Gav, it's been ages, hasn't it?
I've forgotten. It's been ages, and you've moved the clock forward by an hour, thinking it's like some sort of time delay.
I've got to go away with that lunatic tomorrow morning.
You have, haven't you? All right, Kaylee.
Yeah, you.
Kaylee.
Yeah, you forgot Kaylee.
Oh, sorry, Kaylee. And welcome, Kaylee, as well. And Janilda, where's she? She hiding?
No, it's bank holiday.
Oh, she's not coming in. Sorry.
Everyone's entitled to a day off on bank holiday, but not us. We've decided that we'll be here for you on a bank holiday because we figured you've all had enough of summer. Terrible weather. No one's out barbecuing tonight, are they? It must be absolutely bloody freezing. In fact, we're all sitting here with jumpers on. I've just noticed freezing. All of us have got jumpers on. What happened to Summer Spence?
Yeah, it's gone, hasn't it?
I'll tell you what has happened to Summer Spence.
Go on.
I've noticed you've got a hairdo. You've been to the barber or an implant. You've got a proper head of hair again. So? No, seriously, I'm looking in the camera.
Paul's trying to chip in for a hair transplant for me, but
don't if you're going to do it nicely. Don't you think, Kaylee? Don't do any of that turkey nonsense.
Don't go turkey.
I'm a bit of a baby. I couldn't do the pain, Gav. So.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah,
right.
Gav, I want to ask you, what's been happening? Because I've sort of been Newcastle and Manchester, London.
What we have noticed, Spencer, is that you don't watch our show. Haven't we, Kaylee?
We have.
He's never in the comments. Never in the comments. You've been having a lovely time. Yeah, wrong time zones. We understand, Spencer. You've been having a lovely time. Everybody's entitled to a holiday. Kaylee, you had a holiday yet?
No. I actually worked today as well.
You worked today?
Yep.
Can I tell you, that's why you're so valuable.
Thank you.
Yeah, working on a Monday. Well, there's been a few bits and pieces going on. You'll see the title of the show today, Spencer. Spencer Turns Down Rolex, so they're by Bucherer. And by the way, I didn't know it was Bucherer. I always called it Bucherer.
Yeah, I thought it was Bucherer.
I thought it was.
It's Bucherer.
I heard other proper people talking, and they were calling it Bucherer, and I thought to myself, can I call it Bucherer? Because I feel like it's more comfortable for me.
I think it is actually Bucherer.
It's Bucherer. Yeah, we'll come to that in a minute. Have you missed everybody whilst you've been away?
Yeah. Well, I've still kept in touch. I've been working, although I've been away. Believe it or not.
Kaylee has been working.
He has. I actually will vouch for him. He has been actually every day. I think I actually speak to him more when he was away than when he sat next to me.
Right. Okay.
Yeah.
We got a few hangovers in the studio today. You were at Box Park last night. We were at a wedding last night, and
went on till quite late.
I woke up with in fact, I woke up at 4:00 this morning with a horrific hangover. And it was pills and tablets and somehow a stiff neck as well. But there we go. Hello to everybody in the chat. Nicola, Pep Von Keck, Geezer, Watch Unboxing Channel, fresh head sharpened for Spencer. Yes, he's had his hair done. Evening, fellas. Evening, Uncle Jonga. Hello, Greggy Boy, Keith Burford. Good evening to everybody. The watch world. What's been going on, Spence? BQ? We've got a watch show coming this weekend, haven't we?
Watch show this weekend.
I thought you'd forgotten about it.
No, we're going to Geneva tomorrow morning to meet up with a few of the boutiques. Paul said we've got action-packed 3 days.
So it's yourself, it's Paul and it's Kevin.
Filofax
Kev from Stream Cars.
And there's a number of other people out there who we're going to be seeing. Yeah.
Sounds like what's the cruise liner that's for old people? It sounds like the advert for...
No, Saga Cruise.
Sounds like a Saga holiday. Paul, you booked the Saga, you get a discount.
But Gav, I don't know if you've heard.
In fact, you're the youngest person going, aren't you?
I probably am.
Wow. You'll be carrying the
combined
camera.
age almost 200.
Yeah, amazing.
But there's issues with these flights. Hopefully it's...
everywhere.
I saw that tonight, actually. The machine that organised all the flight routes has gone down for the UK. So it's been chaos, and it's the busiest travel day of the year, and over 1 million people are stuck abroad.
And BA have cancelled more flights. I got cancelled the other day with literally a few hours to go, and had to fly via Manchester to come back.
Yes, you did, didn't you? I think actually I was watching because I watch the streams you're on, Spencer. Just saying it, to put it out there. I watched a stream the other night with yourself, Paul and Roman.
That's right, I just come back.
And you just come back. And yes,
Saturday.
You did really well to manage to get yourself back on those flights. Your poor son-in-law had to fly to Lisbon.
Lisbon, and then it took it from being at the airport. We were at the airport 10 in the morning. It was about 15 hours to get back. My daughter had to go to Bristol. My son's on a flight today. He's delayed. Apparently BA flights today have been cancelled.
I'm not surprised. Well, BA have been cancelled all the way through the summer, actually.
So Gav, I got a phone call on Saturday morning.
Go on.
My flight's been cancelled. I need a way home. I was like, okay. So I'm like thinking, he's like, train, get me a car. I don't do anything. I was like, oh my God. So now here I am, like calling his son as well. Like, what do we do? How are we getting them back? And I was like, this is insane. Like, I would not expect it to pay by Saturday like this.
You're now a travel agent as well.
Yep.
So Mike Lewis, Gav, how come you're not invited to Geneva?
Actually, Gav, you were invited.
Of course I'm invited. It's 3 days, and actually it's a really busy period coming up for me with my work. So I couldn't do 3 days, and 1 day wasn't really worth it. And of course there's a moon swatch drop, Kaylee, on Wednesday. What's it going to be? Tomatoes or Moonshine Gold, Spencer?
Oh God!
Hold judgment on this. Even I'm holding judgment on this one. I'll report back next Monday when you come back from Geneva. This could be a goodie.
Really?
I'm fingers crossed that this could be something really special.
Maybe I'll get it in Switzerland. What do you think? When is it? What day?
Oh, can I tell you something? It's Wednesday morning.
It's all right.
No, you won't be there in time.
Why?
He's flying tomorrow.
You're flying to? Oh, go for it.
What, in Geneva?
Go for it in Geneva.
Also see if they've
Trust
got
me.
a Neptune.
Trust me. Well, I'm not saying it, but we'll speak off camera just in case I'm completely wrong. Oh. Yeah, but there we go. So that's super exciting. So the show next weekend, a couple of days, Saturday and
Tuesday.
Sunday.
Yes.
Anybody heard from Dee in the past week? I think he's been on holiday as well. Timing's fantastic for Dee.
Actually, he's due to come back Friday.
He's coming back Friday.
Dee, if you're out there, you're going to get a call a little bit later.
Oh, there you go. Wowza. There's been a few little watch releases, Spence, and I want to show you because actually one of them is from our great friends over at Duckworth Press Deck. They've launched their first GMT, which is going to be at the show. They've opened the window to start ordering. Let's have a look at this. So it's they called it the Rivington, which is their new...
That's very nice.
It's very, very nice. It's priced really nicely as well. So it's $985, I believe, on the strap. And it's $795. I could have this all wrong. I wrote it down so quickly. $795 on the bracelet.
I prefer it on the bracelet.
Yeah, it looks lovely on the bracelet, doesn't it? Really nice. GMT function, waterproof, 300 meters, all the yada.
A bit of detail going on there.
Yeah, really lovely. You were away, but actually I received my coronation, which I'll show you when you come back next week. It was really, really gorgeous. And then, Spence, whilst I was looking, because always I'm looking at the new watches, Kaylee, what's come out. And it's quite a quiet time because it's August and there's obviously all the Rolex Bucherer news. Not only did I find your next watch, I found your next car. If you can find someone to lend you 23 million spondoolies.
Shut up. 23 million?
Hold on a second, but the story's about the watch. Okay, so here we go. What we've got coming now is a brand new Rolls Royce. I would call that a convertible. They call it a drop head. Which is quite old school, isn't it? It's quite a 1960s. Okay. But it's a new Rolls Royce. Basically, they design it around you. Okay, so they're special builds for customers. It's £23 million. Okay, but it comes with its own watch. This one has an AP clock in it. Okay, the new Rolls Royce. This one's called the La Rose Noire Drop Tail. Price tag rumoured to be $30 million and has an AP Royal Oak as its dashboard clock.
Is that the clock or it's...
Yeah, that's the clock. I'm going to show you that. That's the dashboard. It's customised. That's the other one. Let's have a little look if I can find the Rolls Royce movie. I think this is it. There we go. So there you go. You press the button and the clock comes out and it's...
It's a watch.
And it's basically a watch as your dashboard clock. Not suffice with that, they released another story a couple of days later, and they've released another model for another sort of $30 million, and this one's got a Vacheron as its clock.
That's it. Sorry, this is insane.
30 million.
Yeah. Fully customised. I got all the details here. For that, the lucky buyer gets a two-seater convertible powered by the company's well-known 6.7-litre V12. The exterior paint, which took 150 iterations to perfection, and matching interior are inspired by the black Bucherer rose. That's this one. And a velvet flower that originates in France and is the favourite of the mother of the unnamed person who commissioned the car. And so to the watch, it features a one-off AP 43mm Royal Oak split-second chrono GMT large date. It's powered by an automatic caliber 4407 movement. Then the second one, the Vacheron Constantine, they unveiled. It's wildly different. Vacheron held a digital press preview earlier this week when they unveiled the new, I can't even pronounce the name of the car, Le Cabinotoire Armorial Tourbillon. and was designed exclusively for Rolls-Royce for the Amethyst drop tail, which is this. So what does that remind you of, Spence? Lady Penelope's car.
It reminds me of something from Scooby-Doo.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, but that's a lot of money, Spence, isn't it?
And it's only 2 seats as well.
And all I was looking for was like the watch. But
that's insane.
So what else has been launched?
It's pretty special. No, that's it. It's pretty quiet.
But now, normally, this time of year, we start to get some things through that were announced earlier in the year. September is normally when things start.
Well, I started to see that the Rolex, we're calling it the bubble. What are we calling it?
Yeah,
bubble. The Rolex bubble seems to be coming through now. I see it on a few celebrities. I see it up on some of the American channels for the pre-owned dealers. So Bucherer has certainly got one in stock at the moment, and the price of those.
What sort of price?
$30,000.
And what's the list? 5-ish.
Under 5. It's basically back to the days of the Tiffany OP, isn't it? And of course, the first ones are going to command those big money, and eventually it will settle back. Yeah. But it seems like it's going to be, a kind of a little bit in demand, which leads us on to.
This is the news, isn't it?
It is, isn't it? What do you make of all this? Look, we had a quick chat, 45 minutes yesterday. What do you think?
It makes sense. It does. It makes absolute sense. The only thing I hope, look, a lot of the ADs are customers, and I bought their part exchanges. I just hope for them that they still continue to be served by Rolex.
Well, yeah, I mean, they're talking about keeping the businesses separate. There's one thing I did notice when I was thinking about all this. I did notice this in the press release, which on the second line it says, the watch retailer will keep its name and continue to operate independently. Its integration into the Rolex group will be effective once the competition authorities approve the takeover transaction. And I was sitting there thinking, well,
what monopolies?
There must be a monopolies and mergers commission that would seriously consider this a monopoly. Because if you are controlling, or you've got 100 stores, because that's what Bucherer have. Watches Switzerland have about 160. You're stocking other people's watches, so potentially you could be in control of what happens with the pricing of Omega, because you're told what to sell them at, but equally, you can put stuff to the window and
there's so much speculation.
Yeah.
There's so many variables of what could happen. Like you say, they could leave the Omegas and tags and Panerais exactly where they are. They could put them to the back of the store and not push them as much. Their stores could get more Rolexes than a Watch of Switzerland store.
Yeah.
There are so many variables. It's just unknown. But do you remember years ago, you used to have like Mercedes-Benz and you used to have franchises?
Yes.
And they took them all back.
Eventually. Yeah. Kaylee, I mean, that feels like what it's going to now. You see the sort of Tudor boutiques and the Rolex where they have to sort of brand them up.
Yeah.
I guess that's the expertise now of sort of coming in of. But big surprise? Wasn't a surprise to you?
No, not really.
No,
I just feel like they just want to cut out. I feel like they want to cut out the middleman, right? You know what I mean?
I mean, it makes absolute sense.
Yeah.
One of the other things I noticed that was really sort of missed by a lot that was going on was in their press release. They basically said that. Well, let me find it. Yeah. Following the choice made by Jorge Bucherer, in the absence of direct descendants to sell his company's business, Rolex decided to acquire the retailer. Which was until now dependent. So basically,
he was going to sell it.
There was nobody. There's nobody in the family to take it over. It's been in the Bucherer family for generations, and much like Rolex as a sort of family trust, it sort of sits nicely alongside that, and ultimately,
how much they bought it for?
Undisclosed.
Yeah.
What was interesting, Kaylee, was this. Where are we? Let's hit that one. That's the share price of Watches of Switzerland the day it got announced. It immediately took a straight drop in the ocean.
What was it, about 30%?
30%. It rallied back a little bit. And what I would say is, generally speaking, the market doesn't get it wrong. Usually, there might be an instant reaction. But we'll see over the next few days what happens, whether that sort of starts rallying and people think it's just a bit overdone. Watches of Switzerland came out with their own statement to sort of calm the market a little bit and sort of said it's business as usual. We don't expect this to have any material impact. They're remaining separate and we still expect to get supply. But, You know,
we still expect it.
It's 50% of their sales is Rolex. 50% of their P&L is Rolex.
And
Watches of Switzerland.
Bucherer sell 5% of Rolexes.
Yeah. Geezer says, thoughts on Anthony Farah selling a fake Patek 5168G. We'll come back to that in a minute. We'll definitely talk about that because I saw Anthony's made some comments on that. It's just interesting because I think this really opens up so much in terms of let's ask the questions. So, for example, what happens now to Omega? Their watches are in Bucherer or Bucherer. Do they sit there thinking whether they remain independent or Rolex have ultimate control, which we're just assuming, perhaps because it's a great story, but ultimately they may keep them completely separate, the same way they keep Tudor and Rolex completely separate.
And it might different not boards, affect it as much as...
Exactly.
It's just, you just don't know. But the other thing that was quite interesting, when Bucherer, say Rolex approached Bucherer or vice versa, if Bucherer didn't sell to Rolex, what might have happened to their supply?
That's interesting.
Yeah, absolutely. Would they... It sounds like it was a very very nice deal done across the board.
This might have gone on for a few years. The other thing with the CPO that no one really talks about, that was straight into Bucherer, and we don't really hear that much anymore about it.
See, I've been hearing a lot about it at the moment on the phone, like when speaking to customers, and it's mainly Watches of Switzerland. They're offering really, really good prices, and I'm like, I can't
they're
match
buying
that.
they're buying things.
No, so if they want to sell to us, but obviously the only reason that I said I can't match that. I said the reason that they can give you that high price is because they're selling at a much higher price than I will sell at.
Yeah. Watch Unboxing Channel says, I was at a VIP Rolex event the other month. Not once did the Rolex area manager talk of this. In fact, they are putting money into stores attached to Goldsmith. I would suggest they probably didn't know. I mean, you can't. When you do a transaction like this, you don't go telling the whole market you're doing it. And that doesn't mean to say that they maybe didn't speak to Watches of Switzerland, because if you're sounding out the market, you may have had a conversation at a very top level, but it would remain very, very secretive because
NDAs and everything
they're
else.
a publicly traded company, so they'd probably have to announce Watches of Switzerland that they'd received an approach. They would have to say that under the rules of their listing. So that probably actually rules that out. What does this mean for the consumer, though, Spencer? What do you think? Material change for them or not really? It's just
it depends.
Interesting to us.
If the other ADs remain the same, you've still got the spread. If it's all taken in-house, we all know the ADs have got very, very strict guidelines and protocol of how they serve and how people qualify and everything else. And the other day, Paul and I heard of a number of issues of what you have to buy and spend money on jewellery and diamonds. If Rolex's own stores, I don't think they do that.
No.
Because it's not
Kid Mambo says, this was all in the pipeline years ago. Do you think there is any buyer's remorse from Rolex? We'd just be guessing, but clearly from the CPO rollout, they definitely had... The conversations must have been
but their plan was a few years ago when things were going for crazy money.
Yep.
But now their CPO is crazy money. The market's come off a little bit. The gap between the two is quite large.
I know when you look online, some of the bits and pieces do seem a little, and there definitely are watches that are big premiums. But I did have a little wander around Selfridges, and I would say
you said they were coming a bit more.
Yeah, there were Submariners there, older Submariners, are like 9, 10s, 11s. So they weren't...
Because when they first launched it, they were like at 15. And I was like, this is insane.
Yeah.
But they did have a bimetal sub, a 16613, which is the older from like 94 for 14,000. Now you get a ceramic for that.
Yeah.
But also they're like $9,000.
And I can only think that this will be ultimately good. It should be good for the public. Any time that people make strives from a direct source. The whole world is direct to consumer now.
The only thing where I think for the public that it might not be great, if the ADs go and it's only Bucherer and they've got, say, 5 shops, say Plymouth, London, Birmingham, Manchester, Scotland, and you've got 5 stores to go, and all the people who have built huge relationships and been looked after, that may all disappear.
Yeah,
it may do.
I mean, in the scheme of things, let's say it, they bought 100 shops globally. It's not the biggest deal in the world.
No, but it's more the statement to go Rolex boutiques, take it in-house, not give away the money, but they'll spend the money running their own stores. But I'm not sure they make enough money just from Rolex. I think the other brands,
well, they must do.
Good for them.
Yeah. Otherwise, there would have been Rolex only boutiques probably. Yeah, across. It's interesting. I mean, I'd love to have an inside chat with someone who works at, let's say, for example, Omega or Breitling or any of these brands to know, is it business as usual? I mean, and let's say again, they've kept Tudor and Rolex completely separate. All the while, it's never really felt like there's been much of a crossover. Tudor do exactly what and maybe they will just use it as their retail outlet, but own it, and that's kind of how it works. And maybe they've had to give assurances to Watches of Switzerland post the transaction, or if the transaction goes through, because it could still be thrown out by the Competition Commission. It could, and then we'll
I think unlikely.
Yeah. Renaissance Shumbra says Bucherer is about 5% of Rolex sales.
Correct, yeah.
Rolex has 2,000 ADs worldwide. Yeah. It's very interesting. I mean, will ultimately, and it's only questions, will IWC be happy that Rolex are profiting from the sales of their watches? Because it all feeds back, it's... Interesting. And I thought about this, actually, Spencer. This was totally after that I decided to come up with Spencer turns down Rolex, so they buy Bucherer. But I did discuss with you yesterday a point, which is ultimately, who's to say that a BQ watches couldn't be a perfect fit for a bigger brand to run their CPO? Because what we have discovered is that in-house, they don't seem to have the expertise, perhaps, on the shop floors to run.
They say the staff don't have the experience. They just don't have the experience.
But you do. As a team and as a brand, there's nothing to stop someone coming up. What's the ticket price, Spence?
If something was happening, we couldn't tell you anyway.
Thanks very much.
I can't discuss.
Certainly not live on a YouTube channel. Yeah, so Richemont own watchfinder, so BQ purchase isn't impossible. Do you want to do your statement to the camera now, Spencer? Dear Rolex,
you have to.
I know you took me to court once. I know you asked me to stop using your logo 30 years ago,
but now you've got.
Yeah, but now I'll let you back in if you ask really, really nicely. Spencer, how about Omega as a brand? Mike Lewis is asking.
In what way?
How do you feel about them as a brand?
Fantastic brand. And what we've seen of late, I mean, as you know, guys, we took over the Watchmaster. In the last 2-3 months, Omegas, Tudors, Kaylee, Breitlings. I mean, it's been great. The £2,000 to £10,000 marketplace has been extremely busy. Yeah. And being given all of that stock, and we've cleared a lot of it on commission, and customers have turned around to us said, they had something at Watchmaster for 9 months, and now we've sold it. It's incredible how busy it is, and this is sort of watch dealing that I used to do probably 8 years ago, where people just bought watches, and us as a company, I've never ever said you should buy this as an investment or this will go up.
No, even going back through the channel, I went back and checked it. Yep.
And you like the watch. If it goes up, great, but that was the idea behind it. But the amount of, as I say, the more affordable watches is unbelievable.
Yeah, 4CD says New York, Paris, Radlett. It's got a nice ring to it, Spence, isn't it?
BQ, we're on the tube line, and maybe we're...
Yeah. We just had
rename the station.
We just had a super chat of $1.99 from Original OC. I just busted out laughing. Love you guys. Thank you very much. Is this Simon P says, is this teaching us a lesson that we should not make such brands as Rolex so sought after? Now it's time to start looking at other brands. There's loads of brands out there to choose from, and do you not think that people's flavours change as well over time?
Well, I think we're certainly seeing people buying a cross-section of affordable pieces.
Yeah. You've known me for a long time.
Well, you have. Well, look at
didn't buy a Rolex till I hit 50. And that was purely because... Yeah, I know, you can't believe I'm 50. I always thought it was an old man's... Well, clearly it is, because I'm an older man. I always thought it was an older man's watch and wasn't really my thing.
So many people say until they wear a Rolex and put it on, then they sort of become a little bit addicted.
Yeah. Someone's asking what I've got on my wrist. There's a little cheeky thing. We had a wedding this weekend, so I whipped that out the safety deposit. Yeah, so I'm wearing Rose Gold Sky Dweller. Let's get it off. By the way, Spence, I've got to get an extra link put in because
no adjustment
James, can you,
on there?
Yeah, it's already adjusted and
what to the full?
Yeah, I just need this thing is. We got a new app. That's not very good, is it? Okay, that's absolutely shocking. Let's just let's not worry about that. Doesn't seem to focus. Let me just put the camera on. Let's try that. There we go. So that's Spencer. What are you wearing today?
Still got the Hulk gav.
No. This is the thing about you. You get, and we're going to focus on Spencer. You get a watch on, and it seems to stay. Don't you think, Kaylee? Seems to stay on his wrist for.
Oh, ever.
Look, I haven't got much choice of watches or different things to wear, so it's quite difficult.
Yeah.
I'm so surprised you don't sort of whip we should have Spencer's weekly watch. I mean, you promised a little while ago you were just going to wear a tube. You were going to wear a tube. I still love that. In fact, I'm going to swap this over to tomorrow, and I'm going to get my Hulk out.
Yeah.
I love it, especially with the sunlight before it all goes and we get into that dismal winter.
Yeah, you haven't got much.
That really is lovely. Really. Here, Spence, smile. I'll take a picture of you. There you go, with your new hairdo. There you go. We'll post that on the social.
That is hilarious, taking pictures on the show.
We'll post that on the social later. Yeah, I've decided, Spencer, to kind of slow down my watch buying.
You'll buy something this
You're
weekend.
such a liar.
By the way,
you go and swatch on Wednesday.
4 watches in the past week, and I've got to slow down. I got the Seiko 5 Sports. I got that one. I got to get that resized. It doesn't fit me. I went to put it on for tonight. But yeah, go on.
Go on. So what else you bought this week?
I bought a Seiko 5 Sports. This week, no, nothing. I got the Duckworth Prestex through.
Okay. You getting GMT on? It's not launched.
It's not launched yet, and I probably will go in for one for sure because someone's got to support the independents. Spencer's date's wrong. Yeah, the dates are. Do you see mine was good though? I set mine. Your date's wrong, Spencer.
Needs service.
You need a service. Mike says JLC is a brand that doesn't get enough respect, being top quality and its history. I feel it's really Marmite JLC.
Yeah,
it's got the history.
I think there's some that are lovely.
Yep.
But I also think there's some that...
You could say the same about Zenith. I think some of the Zenith watches are amazing. The Zenith Defy is a beautiful watch, a really gorgeous watch. But and I'm really enjoying... I'm thinking about an IWC Top Gun.
IWC, one of the most underrated brands. In terms of the quality and affordability is fantastic.
Yeah. What I do love looking at your website, I know you said it the other night, you managed to get your minute of BQ, like let's pitch in and tell everybody about that. Make me an offer. Because the fact that you have so many great watches on consignment that came through the takeover Watchmaster, you've got people that have been sitting there, and if their watches haven't sold, an offer is an offer. They can always refuse and say no.
Yeah.
I think that's absolutely brilliant.
And we want to make people aware of that.
Kaylee, you getting much sort of through? Are people actually sort of coming through with inquiries for offers and bits and pieces now?
I mean, yeah. I mean, it's a lot, but it's a good thing as well. And I mean, obviously, you do get some people that offer. I mean, I had an offer the other day on a Daytona that's listed at 25 grand. They offered £10, and I just thought, like, why how do you have the energy to even write that in?
Did you write a really nice reply,
Yeah,
Kaylee?
replied, we're really close. Give us a call.
Did you come down by £10? That's what you should have done. If you haven't had a chance to, James just reminded everybody, do give us an upvote. Apparently it makes some kind of difference. Kid Mambo, Gaff, if you had to give up one of your collection, which one? Watches, trainers, BMX? Well, interesting. If I had to give up one... Wow, it would probably be
BMX.
BMX,
that's exactly that's exactly
interesting. But by the way, they're not easy to collect. And I have two unbelievable bikes.
Are they bolted to the wall now, or?
Do you know what? They're a little bit. They're not. They're actually in stands. They're just floating at the moment, and they look really, really cool. They do look very, very cool, and they're in great condition. But it's hard. I'm after a PK Ripper next. If anybody knows about BMXs, I'm after a PK Ripper. But to find one that's authentic parts, old, maybe fully restored, is it's no easy task, and they're a bloody fortune. Sure. And the problem with trainers, Spence, is the same as watches. It's the boxes.
Wait, you
have the storage.
Yeah,
the storage of the trainers and the boxes, because I keep them in their boxes to keep them out the sunlight so they don't discolour.
You are so funny.
Or some of them are in. Some of them are in.
That's what they piled up the wall.
Cupboards. Spencer. But imagine how big trainer boxes are, and then say you've got 150 pairs of trainers. It's a room.
Is that your collection now?
It's not quite 150, but it's close to 100.
Oh my God.
And I don't wear them. And I have sat there scratching my head recently. All the sort of crap I've been accumulating, going, okay. I mean, you didn't see last week's show, but I urge you, Spencer, be a good boy. Okay. Go back and watch and look at the yellow boots I bought.
Okay.
Okay. The box is about the size of this. It's ginormous.
It's huge.
I've got them. I don't know why I bought them. I'm not a flipper.
What was this? What brand?
James, can you bring them up on the screen? The big yellow boots, the Croc collab. Can you find them on the internet and pop them up? Basically, there was some collectible shoes that came out. They're ridiculous. They look bloody stupid. Imagine Mickey Mouse having big feet. You know, he like his feet. Imagine they're big and red.
Up at the front.
Yeah. Well, imagine those in yellow, okay, and then think it's Crocs, so they have holes in. And basically, you had to go into an auction to get them. As in, there they go. James, right? Put them up on the screen. James, you put them up on... Yeah. So basically, I mean, they look bloody... Yeah, I know. You're going to say... Now, you're going to say, what the fuck are you thinking?
But they are a great investment.
When I got them and opened them, I thought to myself, what have I done? I thought I was lucky.
Someone's got a PK Ripper for you.
Who's got a PK Ripper? Oh, I got a 1982 loop tail. Beautiful. Yeah, so I got the boots, Spence, and now I'm sitting looking at them.
What's the number?
They cost me, well, first of all, they're $450. Okay, no problem. Then, of course, there was tax.
20%.
Then there was shipping.
30%.
Okay, so I'm at $740 now, okay, landed in the UK. They probably resell it for exactly the same, but I'm not a seller. And everybody like Kaylee or my kids who I've said I got them, they're like, you can't sell them, Dad. Gav, you can't.
How many pairs? How many pairs were?
I've only got one.
No, how many were made?
I don't think it's a limited supply. You just have to be lucky to get them, but they're around.
And different sizes as well?
Well, I messed up on that as well because I was so excited that I got accepted that I ordered a 9, thinking I'm a 9. It's a US 9. They're an 8. They don't even fit. I do actually have a picture of me. I did actually put them on.
Did you?
Yeah, I did put them on. It looked absolutely...
I want to see.
Is that me wearing them? No, that's not me. I don't have black stripy tights. If you want to see a picture of me wear it, no, I'm joking.
No.
Yeah, so I'm seriously thinking about all the rubbish I buy. Don't even get me started on Star Wars toys. Well. At least Star Wars toys are a little bit smaller. Yeah, that's my latest thing.
I think you're bored.
You think I'm bored?
Yeah, I think. Or you're going like through collecting things.
Can I tell you something where I did go this week, Spence? Which, when you get back, if you can, I went to the Freddie Mercury. Well, it's not an exhibition; it's an auction in town. It is absolutely incredible. It's I'm going to say it was at Christie's, but it wasn't, and it wasn't Bonham's. Was it Christie's? Christie's. It was. Here we go. I got a picture. That's the piano that he composed and played Bohemian Rhapsody on, and that's estimated at £2 to £3 million, which is Sotheby's. There you go, which is absolutely fine because it's a big item. But when I say he left everything to basically his best friend, who was a lady, and she's obviously very old now, so she's decided to sell everything in the house. I'm talking every teaspoon, every cup, every glassware. So there's things for fans to buy. There's 3,000 or 4,000 items for sale.
When's this come up?
It's next week, and so I'm currently bidding on his home telephone. Freddie Mercury's home telephone. It was like the old phone with the, you dial it, with the red, but it's a red telephone, but it's got his home phone number on. Do you remember when you used to have 01?
That's going to go for crazy money.
So
what's it on at the minute?
It's on a couple of thousand.
Hold
on. Ready for this? He owned Marvel Comics from the 60s and early 70s. How can I not bid on those? Right, they're up at about $3,000 so far. But there's something. There's things like Lalique ashtrays, like an ashtray from his house. How cool to have that in a Perspex box, and someone comes and says, "What's that?" It's Freddie Mercury's ashtray. Of course, you can buy all the outfits. All his there's Adidas trainers from the 80s.
What's this going to be on? Like a whole day, or
it's 5 days of all. In fact, they've broken it down into different things. So he was very much into Japanese art. So if you go online, guys, and have a little look, there's all Japanese art. He had a phonograph that was made out of, in the Japanese sort of style. There's a whole room just full of his gold discs. There's handwritten lyrics to Don't Stop Me Now, what he composed. I mean, that's going for over 1 million. There's handwritten lyrics. There's his personal photographs, a collection of his personal photos, like just him larking around with Fred. Some amazing, amazing memorabilia. And of course, then you've got his outfits as well, which are all for sale.
So what's happening? Ladies just selling...
Yeah, she's going to sell absolutely everything. And I was sitting there thinking, I was actually going to give you a call to say, never mind watches, Spence, we should actually get in there, buy everything and open up a Freddie Mercury museum in London. How amazing would that be? I'm sure someone must have put up a fund together to buy a load of stuff to create a museum, because a lot of people in the queue, a lot of Freddie fans were sort of saying, oh, what a shame, selling everything off. It'd be great if there was a museum, people would pay to go into it. And I'm sitting there thinking...
sounds huge money.
It'll be, yeah.
You'd have to win everything.
Greggy, I want to see Gav in Freddie's Live Aid outfit. Oh, do you know what? I looked at his outfits. They had a Flash Gordon outfit that he did in the music video for Flash Gordon. I don't think my left thigh would fit in both the trouser legs. He was a very, very skinny man.
So when is it on? Next week?
The auction is next week. It's on a few different days. I'm trying to get tickets for one evening. It's online, but there's one evening where they're doing... you can enter a competition on Instagram as well. On TikTok. Kaylee, you're like TikTok.
What, to actually...
So basically, if you post a picture and tag them in, you can win to go and see the auction take place live. I think it'll be... Listen, he's iconic. It's history. He'll be iconic forever. Yeah. And to own, honestly, a teacup or a something from his table. I mean, it's literally a whole table laid out with all his teacups and china. And there's his old stereo player from his garden shed, like an old music centre.
Incredible.
Yeah. Bradders says, did you find anything suspicious with any watches you took over from Watchmaster? Anything that were fake or had been fiddled with, etc. To know, considering there were 1,000+ watches?
Not really, no. I mean, anything that... there were things that they'd sort of put a value on, which I couldn't see, so they would just return to clients.
Yeah. Oh, so where they'd sort of mispriced stuff? And
they just mispriced. Certain things were a little bit over-ambitious, should we say.
But no, you've been through all the stock and there's nothing.
But things were just
with them, like that is one thing that I think we've said. They were very organised, like very.
No real faults.
There was nothing like.
They done things well.
Yeah, there was no like fakes or anything that was. They were very good in that sense in their organisation. Do you know what I mean? If it wasn't as well organised as it has been,
all the pieces were kept.
That's what I mean. Everything together.
Red Shovel says music centre, that ages you. It definitely does. You remember a music centre, don't you, Spencer?
Of course.
Did you have one? Did your parents have one?
Well, do you remember the separates as well?
Yeah. Well, do you remember the music centre that you had the Panasonic with the cassette? You had the tape player, and then you had the radio. Well, record the charts, play and record.
Probably wouldn't even know, like a vinyl disc.
You don't remember vinyl, do you? I know you know it now. Records,
oh,
LPs.
I know what they are, but I never had them.
No, 45s.
Yeah.
No. C9. Do you know what a C90 is? Or a C45? No.
Is it a phone?
No, it's a tape. It's a tape.
Okay.
But remember early days, Gav, the 8-tracks in cars, where in the glove box you had an 8-track.
Yeah, I mean, I have to say, I was too young for 8-tracks.
You don't remember?
Yeah, you're only about 3.
I'm not that much.
You're 3 years older than me.
I'm sure there's a few people there all know.
Yeah, and there you go. I had an Iowa.
Harvey had
Iowa. That was it, wasn't it?
No, Harvey probably had Amstrad.
Oh, Amstrad. Yeah, the Dixon Special. Yeah, absolutely. Wow. Techniques was popular back then. Yeah, I've actually still got some SL 1210 Mark IIs in my parents' loft. Yeah, still sitting there. Actually refurbed and all ready to go. Yeah, interesting. Lots of stuff coming back to list now in the Rolex world. That's really good, isn't it, for people? Really good, don't you think? For the
loads
retail?
of people have really built their collection, have seen things come back to where they never thought it would be.
Yeah.
But as I say, there's some people who are paid very high for things, and obviously feeling the pain. Customers' house, certain things we bought that are the wrong price that are now.
Yeah. But you repriced it a long while ago, didn't you?
Exactly. We've cleared.
You just got to keep up with the market. Do you know what I mean?
And we talked about this so many times about having been in business for such a long time, the cycles. You know how to price things, and when you've got to take the smack, you take the smack, you reprice things, and you carry on trading, and that's what stands you apart as a solid business.
But that is the pricing of things today. But
you can't hold on to it and keep it at the price that it was,
Spencer,
because it's never going to work.
Yeah, Spencer Dirt Diggler. Remember laser discs? I had a laser. I had a laserdisc player. Every gadget through history since I've been alive, I think I've had. When I was 13, I got my first CD player. My first album was Phil Collins. Yeah, Phil Collins, and that was my first CD. Remember, my first vinyl was Sugar Sugar. Anyway, let's not get worried about that. It's but I would definitely suggest, if you're in and around London in the next week, do get down and take a look at the Sotheby's auction, because it is awesome. The queues are ginormous to get in. I was very lucky because I was in town, and my friend Blake Ezra was pretty much at the front of the queue and said, "Where are you?" I said, "In town." He goes, "I'm nearly at the front of the queue with all the kids." So I ran down and it took me a good hour and a half to walk round, and I dashed and took a few shots, but it was pretty fabulous. Now, there was rumours that Mr. Thorpe was going to perhaps try and jump on, but tell everybody what you're going to be up to with him this week.
So I've got to meet him at 5 in the morning.
Tomorrow
morning.
You checked your flights, so you're going to check them tonight?
Yeah. Paul says everything's fine. Apparently about 40-minute delay. So we're going around Switzerland. We've got a few people to see, and you've got all the boutiques showing off their watches. I don't know exactly what's in store.
Right.
Maybe Paul just lied to you, and
when
you're
Paul
doing
says
none
he's
of that.
got lined stuff up, he's lined stuff up. I worry. I do worry.
Exactly.
Bradders has just said there's a continuous error with the BQ website, guys. When you try to click from page 1 to page 2, etc., when browsing watches, it throws up an error. Thank you for pointing that out. We'll tell Simon, and we'll get it.
That.
Yeah. Anytime you see anything like that, guys, do email Kaylee at BQ Watches, because errors do come up every now and then, and it's good to stay on top of those sort of things. But that's amazing. Kim Mambo, I came to watches only a couple of years ago when you referred to prices coming back. What sort of prices are we talking? I would love to say go back and watch previous shows, but we're just going to tell you.
Sorry, what was the question again then?
Well, when we talk about prices coming back, actually, to be fair, I think Oisin made a really good video, which I saw this morning, that basically sort of talked about the spike. And if we look at technicals and charts, and we take a straight a line chart, and we start just mapping the prices, actually they're back to pre-pandemic levels, and they're continuing, because obviously the inflationary rise in watches, they're just on the continual uptrend, and we can take the last 2 years in history and just call it an uptick.
So
But if you talk about gold watches going back in discounts, talk about that.
Yeah. Well, they used to be 25% off a list.
Yeah, so people would come to your store.
I remember selling rose gold Daytonas, and quite a few people I know sold them to them 18,000, 17, 18, 19,000.
Because they just weren't popular pieces, were they?
It's not they were unpopular. They were expensive.
Yeah.
And they were like 25,000. 24,750 thereabouts. They were selling sort of anywhere from 17 to 19,000 pounds.
Yeah,
and they weren't considered cheap.
No,
even at that number, people weren't saying, "Oh my God!" You look at them now, where they're still 35.
Yeah, and I remember you. I mean, we've dispelled the stories of ADs backdooring stock to grey market dealers, but in the real world, and going back many years ago, when they got stuck with stock and they had margin and need to clear the decks, then there was a conversation, because you do business with ADs in terms of servicing watches.
Going back to 2015, 2016, ADs used to have to spend a certain amount of money every month, or every quarter, and if they didn't spend the money, they would lose their dealership.
Yep.
So that's why some of these ADs would clear lines to us at 35% off. I mean, day dates then were 20,000, trading at 50. They would give 25% off.
Yep.
Sometimes some things were almost 30% off on certain, not as desirable gold pieces.
Yeah, Harvey's asking, can I ask what's the premium for new old stock?
Depends on the piece.
Yeah.
It's a complicated calculation. The older you go and the less availability, the higher the price.
Yeah.
So if you had something from sort of 1962, again, if something was 50 or 60 years old today, so if you had a piece from 63 of a very rare Daytona, Paul Newman or something, that's selling for 70,000, if it was new old stock, could be double that, could be treble that. And again, depends on what it had with it. If it had absolutely everything, as in the tags, some stickers, You name your price.
I saw actually a watch on BQ's Instagram the other day. Let me just get it up because it was a stickered new old stock, wasn't it? Yeah, it's the Daytona, isn't it? Yeah. So let's just pop this up a sec. But
some of these things, Gav, if it doesn't sell, it doesn't matter.
Yeah, time to seize the moment. Rolex Zenith Daytona 16520. Have a look at the back of it. It's still stickered. I mean, that's pretty incredible. That's pretty amazing, isn't it?
Well, Gav, did we show you the other day we had a watch that was bought and it had the original credit card receipt? Remember where you had the foil?
Yes.
And it had that and purchase receipt.
We should bring that on. Yeah. The one thing I think I've noticed since the Watchmaster takeover, Kaylee, is that the vastness of the stock, but also the amount of the diverse. That's exactly the word I was looking for. The diversity is mental now in terms of the draws.
Really is, but it's really good for us as well to see all these different brands that normally we wouldn't have ever taken them in because they weren't brands that we usually dealt with, but we have, and it's nice to see and have different brands in as well.
Yeah. George is asking when's the next auction.
Work in progress. Once I get back in the office next week, I'll look at it.
Because you've just got back and you're off again. And obviously you're going out there to film with Paul and do some content and go and have a little look around.
And obviously it's a show this weekend.
And then it's a show this weekend. But maybe after that you can
start
focusing.
Possibly end of this month or early October. We'll have a look.
Got to part with 2 watches, folks. Absolutely gutted. Omega Planet Ocean, a Breitling Super Avenger 2 have to go. AD came through with a Rolex that's replacing them. Listen, a lot of people chop and change their collections, and I don't think that's sort of too uncommon.
Not a bad thing.
I don't think so. Yeah, I mean, I actually wish that I could chop things in. I just get too attached. I've just never, just not. It's
a good way of saving as well by putting money into a watch. And many people have come to me, like you say, to sell something to buy from the AD, or if you need some money, you can realise it by selling something.
Yeah. Well, it's just as I've always thought of it as parking money, whatever it's worth, it's worth. But it's I won't get much from my swatches, Spence. Nothing at all.
Look at those, what they were going for at one point.
This is insane.
I got offered a Swatch watch, a few weeks ago. It's quite unique. It was from Swatch, but it's ready for this. It's £14,000.
You are having a laugh.
No, it's a Swatch. It was gold. It had some diamonds on it. It was the ugliest thing I've ever seen.
You didn't buy it.
They couldn't think of anybody else to offer it to. And I know they've still got it. That's list money. And by the way, I walk out of there, it's worth 2.
Mentioning down there that this new Daytona, the Le Mans.
Yes.
That I'm looking forward to seeing.
Yeah. Super rare piece. It's one Hyde Park Rolex looking for everyone. Oh, they've got one at One Hyde Park. Wow. Okay. Yeah, it's absolutely. I mean, I heard it's going for mad money. Like I heard the figure of $500,000.
What?
Yeah. I'm sure I saw it on someone's channel.
$500,000?
That it traded at $500,000. Am I wrong? You're in the watch groups. Is it trading at all?
I haven't seen.
Yeah. There we go. Should we have a look at this week's celebrity watch, Kaylee?
Yeah.
All right, Kaylee, first up. Now, I know, once again, you were working today, so I picked these out.
I feel like I know who that is, but can you tell me?
Yeah.
I feel like it's Adam Levine, but I also
It is Adam Levine, right. Yeah. Okay. 18 karat yellow gold, Artisan de Genève, Project Neon, sapphire dial, skeletonized movement to allow light to penetrate.
We've had a few
through.
of these pieces,
Yeah.
Gab.
Have a look at these other pictures. Look at this watch.
Not easy to sell.
No.
I think we've got something.
We've got one in at the moment, yeah.
I had a few pieces on consignment. Huge money, very interesting, but not easy to
shift. You know what it is? It's like that there's a buyer for it somewhere.
So that's the thing. If you want that particular one and you want it to be like redesigned. I don't know why.
James, did it have the list price on this?
No,
it was unknown everything. Well, that's good. And were there any more pictures of it? Oh, it's just custom. All right, well, we'll just call it £1 then. Yeah, phenomenal looking watch. Yeah.
James, you a buyer if I get one?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
That price, I'm in.
Sure. Right, let's have a look at Celeb 2. This is really interesting, actually. So, do you know who that is?
A golfer?
It's a golfer, yeah. His name is Victor Hovland, okay? This is, I'm ready for this? Yesterday, he won the Tour Championship, okay? FedEx Cup in Eastlake in Atlanta. Ready for how much he won?
Go on.
He won 17 million. Oh, sorry, hold on a second. He won 14 million pounds for winning yesterday. Hold on. But he won last week as well. His total earnings in the last 7 days, is 17 million. But the best part is when he was walking down knowing that he'd won, he has a caddy. The guy holds his bag and tells him what clubs to use. The guy's on 15% of his winnings. So in the past week, the caddy, the fella that holds the bag and gives him the balls and wipes the club, 2,551,181 pounds and 10p.
Is that standard what they earn?
10 to 15%, yeah. But
for holding the clubs.
He holds the clubs, tells him where to hit it. Go left of the pit.
So if he didn't say that, then he might not have won. So he kind of
helped
each other.
He's got a bit of knowledge.
He's got a lot of knowledge. But anyway, this was, I actually cut this last week before he won. So there you can see he's wearing an all white ceramic AP Royal Oak Perpetual calendar with a blue.
That looks silver there, Gav.
It does. It's actually pure white and cost of 98 grand. What do you think that trades at in the grey, Spencer?
270.
Spencer, what do you think?
300.
300. James, how much was it?
250.
250. And yeah, in fact, I've got it on the wrong thing. In fact, if I just do this, perhaps, hold on a second. If I just get the old camera up again, here's a picture of Hovland yesterday, lifting his trophy because it's. I'm trying to work out what that is on the wrist, but looks like a.
It's like a rose gold one.
A rose gold AP.
Could be anything.
Yeah. Yeah, the fella's 26 or 27 years old, and what's Brad has said? Tiger Woods caddy Steve Williams, yes, was the highest paid sports person in New Zealand for 10 years because he was his caddy. Incredible, yeah. But well done, Victor Hovland.
Yeah, well done.
Amazing for him. I mean, literally amazing. Yeah, there we go. We've only got a few questions in this week for you, Spencer. Thoughts on the 36mm Platinum Day Date? Too small for a man, too heavy for a lady?
I'm not a big fan of the new 36.
Depends on the wrist size, but yeah, probably the 40 is a lot better watch. Unless you're small. If you're small, I could probably get away with it.
You get away with 36.
So if someone wants to buy me the 36 Platinum.
If someone wants to buy it for you. I still remember your first watch you had. That was a lady's watch, wasn't it?
31 mil. No, it wasn't.
31 mil.
It's called a mid-size back in the day.
It was a mid-size.
It was gender neutral.
Wow, that's very popular these days as well. Yeah. Wow. Let's have a look next up. What's the best value watch currently, Spencer, from the highs? And then he's put, I think, John Mayer Daytona as a question mark. What's the best watch from the highs? What has come back a bloody long way, you think?
Platinum Daytonas from like 140 to 87.
No, but they were more than 140 at
yeah,
one
sorry,
point.
you're right. They're more than one. Yeah, they were probably about 160.
If not a bit more, yeah.
You're like Jonathan's comment, by the way.
The other thing...
how much percentage does Kaylee get for carrying these shows?
Excellent question.
Yeah, that's a good question. What do you think, Spence?
Aquanauts as well. Rose gold Aquanauts, sort of 160s, 170s.
What are they back to, 80s?
80s. Some of these.
I wouldn't even necessarily say the John Mayer. I mean, I would in a way, because obviously it was 145.
And also it's your favourite watch in the whole wide world.
In the whole wide world.
But quite a few of these really fancy dials, like Meteorite GMTs, 70s to 80. They were 80s. There were people fighting to get those watches.
Yeah. What about for you, Kaylee? What do you think is the numero uno watch for you that's dropped?
I would probably say the John Mayer, because it was 145. But I do also think the Platinum Daytona that was like over... I swear it got up to over 200 at one point.
Yeah.
And now it's down at 80. Like, that's a massive drop.
Yeah, yeah.
So,
do you want to deal with Freddie?
Maybe you guys should be working on improving your customer service rather than make videos.
Come down for a coffee and tell us how to?
I mean, first of all, I apologise, but if you give us a call, I'm sure we can
Yeah.
Yeah,
I don't know
absolutely.
what we've done,
Sure.
so I can only apologise.
As they say, you can't please all of the people all of the time. Just some of the people, some of the time.
Absolutely right, 100%. Question number 3. If you had a budget of 6K, what are you buying?
Probably an Explorer.
Oh, you'd go stay Rolex.
I think you could get, well, yeah.
If I had $6,000 right now to buy a watch, actually, there's another watch I want, and I've put my name down for it because I can't help myself. It's not 6. I'll get change for you, by the way.
Go on.
Jolie, I'll get change. I really, really, really like the new Pelagos, the Alinghi Red Bull.
Yeah.
I absolutely love it. I tried
What's
it on
that,
again last week.
4-ish?
4,250, I think it is. I absolutely love it. I will probably, I put my name down for it. I'm not sure when it will come through. It will eventually, because Tudor have everything in now.
Yeah.
I mean, literally everything's in, even like left-hand drive,
Really?
FXDs, they're in. All the Pandas, they're in. But the Alinghi's not. And when it does come in, either that
What
or
are they saying?
someone...
Ish,
soon. But no one's got one. But, the chrono on that I think is absolutely stunning. Kaylee, what about for you? $6,000 to spend.
I'd probably say like a Cartier, maybe. Like a Cartier Santos or even like a Panther, maybe.
Something about iconic. Not a Speedmaster? We haven't mentioned Speedmasters.
But for me personally, like I think they're great for under 6, but I personally wouldn't. I'd rather have like a Cartier, like a ladies one.
Oh, Lease, Dust. SE Quadrangle or Hutch Pro Gav full set. I'd probably go with a quad angle, if I'm being really honest. Beautiful bike. A Frank Muller. No one ever talks about Frank Muller, do they? We never talk about Frank Muller until I bring...
something. 20 years ago, as you know,
when I bought one.
They were hot.
They were.
Still could come back.
Can you order me a Frank Muller strap for mine?
No.
You can't.
Where
do I get a Frank?
You got to go to Frank Muller.
I don't even know where the boutique is anymore.
I think you got to go, or online.
Right, okay.
Because they've got special fittings for them.
Right, okay. Is Spencer missing the mayhem of the new
missing
showroom
it
build?
at all. It's still bits and pieces going on, but look, for guys who come down this weekend, you'll see a lot has changed. Still a bit of work to do, but it's certainly getting there.
Red says 39 Pelagos, best watch for the money. And I have to agree. And by the way, I've seen that there are a few coming around now. They're discounted to list. I think that is a fantastic purchase at that money.
That's titanium, isn't it?
Yes, titanium. It's a brilliant. I mean, it looks a little bit tiny on my wrist, but as an everyday watch, it is brilliant. And as I said, if people are chopping them in with you, I think they're great value. Yeah, brilliant. The Frank Muller Conquistador is fantastic. Take that over a Richard Mille any day. Yeah, they were bloody big watches, weren't they? The Conquistadors on the day, weren't they?
Yeah, and the Cortez.
Yeah, the Cortez. I still like the crazy hours.
The Master Banker.
I still like I can't tell the time on it, but I still like the thought.
Oh, that crazy hours drove me mad. That watch.
Question number 4: who would be a buyer of BQ watches? Could the pre-owned market consolidate?
Could it consolidate? Doubt it. Everyone wants to be a watch dealer. There's loads of, you only need a handful of watches and a small office, and you're off and running.
Yeah, but surely amongst the big pre-owned, I wouldn't even call them competitors, because actually you don't really compete. You'll trade with each other, but the I don't think there is a BQ equivalent, but there are certainly other companies that are established and sizable. Would there ever be a plan to say, well, let's have a Liverpool-based business and a Newcastle-based business and a?
Well, I said that we should open one in Dubai. I'll work out there. I'll run it.
Is that on your 15% commission, Kaylee?
Gav, I mean, you've seen, it's quite, I think you can't underestimate the amount of work involved in doing everything. There's a lot to be done.
Yeah. Brad says, Gav, you're super surprised you haven't got a lefty GMT. You're the man for watches that are different and stand out. Well,
actually, Gav,
it is funny, but a lefty GMT, I've had my name down for it. I can't pay, are they 16 now, roughly speaking?
Yeah. But I was paying 35, if you remember. Yeah,
I do.
Not that long ago.
Yeah. Oh, hold on.
What do I know about watches?
You paid 35 for 2.
Actually, I did.
You did. You paid 35 for 2. What I would say that is starting to get my attention is that subs are not a million miles away from being reasonably overlist, because they're still overlist. And I'm sort of, I said to my AD the other day, it's taken you so long to get me a no-date sub that I might have to step into the grey market and get one, because it feels like, I don't need to wait anymore. Yeah. I mean, it's just, it might be 1,500 quid, a couple of grand over. I'm guessing, I haven't sort of closely looked, but yeah. Is there an alternative path Spencer could have gone down to watch dealing? He must have enjoyed the big build.
I enjoyed it, but it did almost kill me, let's be honest. It was close. It was close.
I don't think if you would have had the watch show as a deadline, it would have been so stressful.
Just I didn't think, like with anything, I didn't think it would take as long as it did.
Yeah.
And
I think you're right, but I think, Gav, if there wasn't the show...
If there wasn't the show, but I honestly believed March, April. That's what I thought. I thought May we'd definitely all be done.
Nicola, maybe able to help with a no date, Gav. Hit me up, Nick. I'd be grateful. Someone else from the channel got me sold me their Seiko 5 the other day, so very grateful for that. And then walked into Brent Cross the other day and saw one on the shelf. Woohoo! I'm so good. But it's all good. Right, I think we're kind of done, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls. You're off for 3 days. People are going to see you this week, aren't they, on Paul's channel?
We're going to be on Paul's channel in Geneva.
You don't really know what's going on, do you?
No. I'll find out tomorrow morning.
I mean, if Paul Thorpe said to me, Gav, come to Geneva, I'm not telling you what's happening.
Do you know what? I want people to follow it and see.
Yeah.
I have been told a few names, but I don't want to hype it up and then we get let down.
Right.
There's some really good boutiques we're going to.
Yeah.
Some people we've got meetings with, so I've been told.
Yeah.
But I'm always one, let's see what happens. And equally, for anyone who wants to join us next weekend, 2nd and 3rd at BQ HQ, and register.
I've put the link down below in the bio, so you can in tonight's show notes, so you can click on the link and register for your free tickets. Ian sold you a Seiko, Gav. I gave you one free. You're absolutely right, and I do wear it, Ian. I'm very grateful for that. But this was a different
and we got
watch.
People from all over. Ian Nicholson, a few of the boys coming from
Are they coming
Newcastle.
down? Fantastic, excellent. Yeah. It'll all be down the pub. What's your take on modified? Oh, well, we had a show on this a couple of weeks ago. What's your take on modified watches versus modified cars? Interesting how we all like a Porsche or Range Rover with nice upgrades, but a Rolex that's been aftermarket modified. It is interesting.
Yeah, I can deal with it with a car, but not a watch. Because you've got the original parts. Well, you could say the same on a watch, but these artisans and some of them don't really do it for me.
But it's interesting how it boosts the value of a car, and it almost devalues.
It depends how you're altering it. If it can go back to original, putting wheels on is no big deal.
Well, let's take what's the Range Rover?
The Urban?
The Urbans.
Yeah, or Overfinch. Overfinch do
a phenomenal
total
job. Luxury, aren't they? It's an incredible difference. But yeah.
But they do a lot of this themselves now, like the AMG on Mercedes, the M Sport on BMW. They do it themselves.
Yeah, amazing. Right, been a great show. We squeezed a cheeky one in whilst we had Spencer here. Not sure if you're around Monday week, but if you are, we'll see how we get on. We'll maybe try and line up a little.
And we will be talking about the auction and seeing what we can do.
Yes, absolutely, an auction. If you haven't done so already, please do give us a like and, importantly, a subscribe. Do take a look also, very importantly, at the BQ Instagram, the That Watch Guy Instagram, Kaylee's TikTok channel as well. It's all going on. There's so much diversity of all the stuff that's coming through. So hit us up on all the channels, and we look forward to seeing you next week, Spencer.
And if you're around, we'll see you next week. And remember, if you haven't dealt with us yet, it's only a matter of time.
See you the weekend, guys.
Bye.